Good evening, race fans. Welcome to the Core Racing Network. Tonight, we are here at the last Great Coliseum, Bristol Motor Speedway, for 175 laps for the Core Xfinity Series presented by Elwood Designs. We've had a little bit of a rough go last time out at Worldwide Technology Gateway, and it's certainly it had its mix of newness because of the new scan. It had the update issues and a little bit of everything, but this is a track that has not been updated. It is just, it's tough as is. You don't need to worry about any kind of updates. This thing is a beast for its little half-mile track. High bank, concrete, and just short track racing at its best. Carl Hamworth joined in the booth by Jimmy Cover. Jimmy, back again here at Bristol.
Yeah, Bristol. I mean, it's a good track. I mean, it could be worse. I know it's a short track, but it's high speed. It's got a small place in my heart because it does have my very first iRacing win here.
Yeah, and it's certainly a place where it's as very different as it is compared to tracks like Daytona and Talladega, but it's very much similar in the sense that it's survival. You got to make it through the first 100+ laps before you really actually need to start racing and doing well. You got to survive the first 3/4 of the race. But don't have the visual here for the standings coming in, but we'll give you an idea of what it looks like heading into tonight's race. This is race number 8 of the regular season. Alan Elwood still leading the Platinum Division, only 4 points separating the 5th place of Jack Stoneman and 6th place of David Tilford at the cut line. In the Gold Division, led by now Tommy Ryan at the top of the boards. The cut line is currently, trying to take a look here. Looks like the cut line is pretty vast in the Gold Division. Bronson Stafford with 197 points, Joe Sullivan with 126. So quite a ways in between that cut line as of right now. In the Silver Division, Christopher Pope leads the way, but not really, because he is tied with Robert Kenny, tied atop the boards there in the Silver Division. For the cut line, you're looking at a difference of 10 points in between Kevin Foster and Braden Carlson. And then finally in the Bronze Division, top of the boards is Dan Phelps. And then at the cut line, it is a difference of, trying to find it here, looks like Jeremy Gainey with 76 points, and James Mullen are actually right here. Mark Allen with 72 points, only 4 points separating the cut line there, as well as we're a little bit past halfway through the season so far here, so still got some time. Next week is going to be a couple of things special. One, Jimmy gets to take a little vacation. He gets to just take a step out of the booth for the week. But also, these drivers kind of get to let their hair down a little bit too, as we have the All-Star event next week. So we'll see the drivers just get to have a little fun. No points on the line, just a little bit of fun as they tackle. I believe it's Charlotte. Yeah, no, I'm sorry, Homestead next week for the All-Star race. So that'll be a fun one before we head to Kansas, Charlotte, and Las Vegas for the last 3 of the regular season, and we'll get to the playoff running. But I mean, so far so good, Jimmy. It's been a lot of good racing, and still I know we only got 35 out here tonight, so no split, no second split out there, but still good showing here for these drivers.
Yeah, I got 35 drivers out there right now to take the track and race tonight. And obviously, what that does is obviously it is going to put a few more cars on the track. So I wish those drivers that were attempting to make the field here or the main event here tonight were still around and they would show back up. But things happen. Computers break, or whatever it may be, or just real life gets into play here. Is obviously school back in full session and parents always trying to support their children as well. So, but we're happy to have the drivers that we have, and it's going to be a good one here tonight. It's going to be interesting. Like you said, it's going to be a big game of survival. I don't know if we'll, hopefully we'll see some long green flag running here, and maybe we'll see a green flag pit stop series, and it can be tricky here, obviously with the pit stops. You got looks like we have stalls on the front and the back stretch here, as I see a few of them back there. So it's going to take at least one. Yeah, there's just quite a few back there. See those little squares on. I'm looking at the static blimps. I'm just got an overhead view of the track tonight. It's kind of a unique way to kind of watch the race. As, you know, cars are like micro machines, but it's okay. I get to see everything that's going on around the track. You know, when you know, there might be an incident. So Carl can keep you covered with that close-up vision and down on the track. But yeah, I'm going to keep my bird's eye view here tonight, see how everybody does. And when we start talking about pit stops, you know, under green, you can go a few laps down here, Carl, anywhere between 2 to 3 and possibly 4. Obviously, tire is a huge part of the strategy here tonight with this concrete track.
Yeah, quite a bit here. I mean, at least with the drivers, they only have to deal with the single pit lane entry. So there's different ways that you can run Bristol. You can run it with you know, 2 different entries on the front stretch and the back stretch. But for the layout here tonight, everyone enters the pits out of turn number 2. You see right down there, that is the entrance for everyone. And then when they go through 3 and 4, they'll have to keep it down there below the yellow lines to stay in the pit road. So it definitely can put you down a few laps here tonight. But give you a quick rundown of the starting order. I think we got another pace lap here to go. Just want to double check as the pace car comes around here. Yeah. So starting order here for tonight is gonna be. Let me get the right thing here. There we go. It's Danny Ware on the pole. Shane Therian. Excuse me. Alan Elwood, Tommy Ryan, Trevor Hunt, Joey Cruz, Jack Stoneman, Jeff Ryan, Cody Hemingway, and Kelly Pointer for your top 10. You got Chandra Weiss, Matthew Rodriguez, Grady Gherkin, Dalton Drummond, Chad Coleman for your top 15, Tyler Skosen, Joe Sullivan, Colin Flickiger, JP Phillips, Tim Glass for your top 20, Tyler Barnes, Jake Lesh, Bronson Stafford, John Crane, Robert Kenny, Chris James, Jeremy Gainey, Dave Tilford, Mark Allen, Matthew Simmons for your top 30, and then Paul Butler, Josh Van Westen, Terry Jansen, Luis Orduna, James Molyneux for your 35 car field. Barney is waving that green flag. It's time to go racing here at Bristol.
Overhead view, great start from the whole field as they go 2 wide down to turn number 1. It's going to be Danny Ware out front with Alan Elwood right behind him. So getting early in good track position here at Bristol is important. So like I said, obviously that clean air out front can play big dividends, as well as not having to deal with some of the incidents. There's an incident in turn number 2. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cars involved.
Let's take a look at what brought this one out. It looks like we got a few cars getting back going here. Looks like Chris James might have been one of them involved here. Little bump there from the 32 up to the outside into Dalton Drummond's. And that might be right there what started this little melee. Tim Glass into it, the 282, 33, 73, all involved as well. Terry Jansen does a good job there locking it up and keeping it back going here. We'll take a look at the incident here one more time. And you see right there, looks like a little bit of neck code maybe involved with the initial contact, about maybe a half a foot in between the 32 and 67, but unfortunately was close enough that the sheets number 67 there of Colin Flickiger up into the outside wall into Dalton Drummond's to start this one out. And give everyone a quick yellow here, a quick chance to get into the pits, get some damage repair. But I'll tell you what, Jimmy, with the size of the field that we have here tonight, even pitting under caution from the back of this field, you got to pay attention to where that pace car is, or you can go a lap down under caution.
Yeah, and I would, especially if I'm in the back of the field, I might want to take one adventure down pit lane to find out where my pit stall's at.
It's not a bad idea, or at least while you're driving here under caution, kind of looking over, like, where's my number? Where's my number? Okay, there it is. Obviously, for guys like Danny Ware, the man on the pole, he knows where he's got to be. He's the first pit stall all the way at the end, which is nice and easy to remember. And obviously, the first couple cars, you know where it is. But it's when you start getting like 8th on back from from 8th to really all the way till maybe the 30s. You kind of really need to,
there's 22,
to pick it out.
22 stalls in the front lane here, front row, the front stretch, and the rest are on the back.
I think the 73, yes, actually the 18 has a black flag. Looks like the 73 is just going to have to drop to the back of the line here. But for, you see right there, Dalton Drummond's coming in. And he got his service. He's going to be coming back out of pit lane now.
Yeah, and a lot of that is they probably came in the wrong pit entry. And what it'll do here, and it's not a bad thing, it puts you at the back. I actually, one of my first official races back in ovals, you know, after a while, was at Bristol. I was like, oh, I won at Bristol. This ain't too bad. And I kept pulling, coming down the wrong entry, and I kept getting a black flag. And I'm like, what the heck's going on here? Oh, I'm an idiot. So when I went in the right entry, then I started getting the black flags. But officials, plenty of cautions. Pace car is in. Danny Ware ready to go. Got to get them back under green as Danny Ware and Alan Elwood both get a good start. Almost perfect timing for Alan Elwood on the outside. But Danny Ware going to get things going there early. Get that run down to the inside. Get up in front of Alan. And to take that first place back in control. Trevor Honda a little bit loose. There's, who's that? Shane 30 looking to go underneath.
Good battle right behind him there, as well as you got the 66 of Tommy Ryan on the outside of Jack Stoneman. Battle for 5th position here, side by side. A little wiggle there for the 25, but they're going to keep it straight. A little back further in the field, you see Joey Cruz running kind of the second line here. That's one thing that's nice. We've talked about it before, and we'll talk about it again here under caution. But it looks like Joe Sullivan, looks like maybe Mark Allen involved in this one. Matthew Simmons almost gets a piece there at the end, but we'll take a look at what brought this one out.
So he just lost control coming out of the corner.
Yep, a little high. Gets her sideways. 61 Ron Stafford just getting by. Dave Tilford just getting by as well. Unfortunately, Mark Allen, the T-bone there at the end. Take a look at that one more time from the view here of Dave Tilford. See how quick this happened right in front of him. You see the 76 up there, up high, and the back end just steps right out on him, and good avoidance there by the 12, just barely. To get you back at live here, looks like not too much damage, even though the 76 got T-bone there. I didn't really see too much damage on the side, didn't see too much damage on the front end of the 33 of Mark Allen either. So hopefully both cars can get back out there all cleaned up and get this thing back underway again. 175 laps, so we got plenty of racing yet to go in this one, but I'm just going to get some green flag laps out there. I'm trying to see what's going on here. Trying to see. Okay, there's the pace car. I didn't see the pace car at first, but it looks like we'll pick up the pace car here this time by. But as I was going to say, it's one thing that's nice about Bristol is it's not a typical short track in the sense that it's flat and it's one groove, one lane. You got to get to the bottom. The only way to pass is basically on the run to move somebody. There's multiple grooves here at Bristol.
Yeah, I like the fact that it has multiple grooves. You can run a little higher, you can run lower, you can run a middle, low, you can run a high, middle. It's a really kind of variety. Now, one, the driver feels good, and then obviously where your opponents are, and if you're trying to make a pass, you can make it hard on somebody. You know, keeping that, if you can rotate the car down along the yellow line, but eventually that top line does come into play. I'm not quite sure with the Xfinity cars, but some cars, that tie line is just the place to be, and no matter how hard you try and down underneath, you don't get by. So we're going to see that. I think that all come into play here a little bit later on. Obviously here early, as we're see, I don't have my lap thing on, but yeah, just definitely we got plenty of laps to go. So just looking forward to seeing these racers get back to it. And like I said, you're going to see some people be very, very reluctant on coming down, but they get too many pits too far in. You're going to find them, they're going to have to make that decision to come on down in and give up some of that track space.
Some early movers here in the race. Josh Van Westen up 8 spots into 24th right now, so good start for him. Terry Jansen also up 7 spots into 26th. We're going to go ahead and hop on board. We'll hop on board here with Paul Butler for the start of this thing. He's going to be restarting back here in 29th position. And kind of show you what it looks like kind of rush hour here at Bristol for the restart.
The battles. Yeah, good start by the front again. Alan with that high side anywhere down a little low. Danny has got to keep that car down there. Alan has that groove up there, kind of not allowing Danny to use the full track, so that slows that inside up just that little bit, but they're doing a good job right now with the cooler tires or newer tires. But Allen's going to edge them out coming out of turn number 2 as they head down the backstretch.
They started from the field, and they really need a couple laps to kind of get these tires up the temperature, and you see even there right there, Robert Kenny getting a little bit loose in front of Dave Tilford. These tires take a little bit, especially on this concrete here at Bristol. It takes a little bit to kind of get them worn in and ready to go, but hopefully these drivers can get some green flag laps in here, as we're on lap number 17 right now, so a tenth of the way through this race, plenty to go yet. See the Mountain Dew number 11 of John Crane on the outside trying to get around Stafford, but he's going to fall back now into the clutches of Robert Kenny as they got close to touching off the corner, but good save by both of them. Up towards the front, some more battling 2x2 for a couple of these spots here. 138 of Chad Coleman on the inside of Kelly Pointer. Coleman, still a rookie out there, but he's shown some pretty good speed here to start his core career. We'll see where he kind of lands after his 5 races. Right behind them, a side-by-side battle between now the 32 of Tyler Barnes and the 01 of Matthew Rodriguez going around the outside. Got one position, now he's on the outside of Tyler Schoes and really making that outside line work.
Yeah, kind of. Right in front of him. Oh, 1, 2, 3.
And quite a few getting involved here.
5 cars or so.
Take a look back at this one to see what started it. The 010 of Cody Hemingway got put in a bit of a spin cycle. Oh, right there. The 28. Joey Cruz a little bit loose out of the corner. Flips the back quarter of the 010. And as I mentioned, he gets put in a bit of a spin cycle here. Tyler Skozen gives him a little shove there and wrecks the front of his car in the process. The 32 gets a little piece in the back end. The 61 Bronson Stafford, nowhere to go. Head-on collision there. The 11 of John Crane. Looks like he slides sideways, keeps it off of the walls, though. So good job there, but certainly some damage to the 010. And Jeremy Guinea lands inside of him. Perfectly T-boned inside of him. So, yeah, say what you will, but there was certainly quite a few cars involved in this one and going to need some damage repaired. Again, these drivers only got one fast repair for the night. I know it's not a track that you necessarily need to have a clean car to finish. We've seen some pretty rough cars in Victory Lane before at Bristol, but you got to survive in the beginning. You can't get involved in too many incidents, and unfortunately, the battlefield here tonight, Jimmy, well, it's the last great Coliseum, so you got to be prepared for battle.
Yeah, I mean, it's a unique track. It's fast. You can lose it. You have to have patience with it. You have to trust your car. Lots of racing left, so it's better to let things go sometimes early. But you get stuck up on that outside, and everybody takes advantage of it. And you're really trying to get the power down, and that's when you could lose the back end of the car. Kind of what happened there on that incident. But cars coming in, taking advantage of the pit stops. You're going to see a big, start seeing a big range here between the leaders and the people that are pitting in the back. So if for some reason this thing were to go green for a substantial amount of time, those leaders would come in, could go laps down, and those people that have been in can find themselves lapping those leaders by a few laps. And if a caution were to fly after that, they would still be stuck laps down, not a lap down, laps down. So like I said, I think it's 2 or 3 laps you can go down here, which is kind of crazy to think, but that's how long it takes to get through pit lanes. But pace car is in, ready to get this thing back underway. Alan Elwood gets on the loud pedal with Shane Thurian on the outside this time, but Anywhere gets a pretty decent start. Not quite able to get alongside Shane Thurian, but able to get some good traction there and keep the battle going with Sean Revise that's on the outside.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen here at Bristol under under green flag conditions, just with the dual pits, when you're only having to go in. If you pit on the back stretch, that's the pit you go in. If you pit on the front stretch, that's the pit you go in when it's dual pits, pit lanes. And in that case, we've seen drivers go down 2 laps. Here tonight, with it being single pit lane, I mean, I can foresee drivers maybe going down 3 or 4 laps. It's that long to get all the way around under pit road speed to get to your stall, to get in your box and everything like that. It's gonna take a while, and you can go down several laps. I mean, you take a look at some of the pit times for the drivers that came in, even just to get a fast repair or a gas and go. You're still looking at about 50 seconds for the entire pit stop. It's only 15 and a half seconds for a lap here on the green. So, I mean, do the math. You're going to be going down quite a few laps under caution or under green flag conditions.
Yeah, we already have a few drivers that are laps down. James Melno, the first one lap down, and John Crane. Lucas Orduna, 3 laps down. Jeremy Gainey is 5. And it looks like Mark Allen has parked the car for the evening as the 33rd car here tonight. So, yeah, 1 down and a couple laps down. So they have some battling to do, and they really need to just kind of take their time and hope for some cautions in order to get back in that lead lap, especially number 94 and 11 of John Crane. But they do have to find each other on the track, and they do need to battle that out for that lucky dog position. So will they do that? We will see. But Alan Elwood out front right now over Shane Thurian. Should we say Shane Terrian with Sean Relies anywhere, Jack Stillman, Trevor Hunt, Tommy Ryan, Jeff Ryan, Brady Gurkin, and Chad Coleman for your top 10.
Hold on a second, Jimmy. You're telling me as we're going to have another caution here, looks like Luis Orduna spun around backwards on the track here. It doesn't feel right, you getting a driver's name correct and me not. So so I think we need to get on the same page here. Either I need to correct myself or we need to switch it up here, and you need to be calling him.
I mean, we need to call him for like, I don't know how long.
And listen, he's had a great start to the season. I don't think we should buck the system here.
I mean, if I start calling him the right names, does that automatically start throwing him the broadcaster's curse?
It's your fault.
We will see. We'll try it here tonight. Shane Terrian will go ahead and be up front there and try to give Alan Elwood a run for his money. He's having another good night. I mean, I talk about Shane fairly often because if he's last I know he was still driving on a controller, and one of the few people that I know to drive with a controller or have driven on a controller and is actually good at it. So if he's still doing that, cool or awesome, but I know he had the equipment, just I don't know if he ever found the time to ever really learn. And maybe we can get him in the booth tonight, and then we can toss him that question and see if he's still in his old habits of driving with a controller, or if he has finally made the change to a steering wheel and pedals. But either way, I want to change up what he's doing now, that's for sure, as he's had a lot of good runs here, at least lately, and he finds himself in P number 2 right now, behind your leader, Alan Elwood. So those drivers having a pretty good run, but drivers really taking advantage here, kind of coming down in, taking their pit stops, and it's really going to be, I think, about strategy, Carl. I mean, when should they come in? When should they, make that stop? I know they can go a decent amount of laps, obviously, but with 175 laps, are you looking at as soon as you can make it on fuel coming in, or waiting a little bit longer? Is this going to be a one-stop race?
Well,
I don't know.
I think what you really need to look at is what scares you more. Does it scare you more of a green flag run happening and going down several laps, or does it scare you more at pitting and getting back in that battlefield? Because that's where you're going to most likely end up, unless the entire group of cars, or 90% of the cars come in. You're going to be stuck back in that battlefield if you're one of these leaders and you come into the pits. So that might be more scary than going down several laps, if that makes any sense. Because at least if you're going down several laps, you still have a car. If you get back in that battlefield, you may never recover. Either way, we're gonna.
It's a tricky challenge there. I mean, they really got to figure it out here, but they're too wide. The pace car is going to come in this time by, coming out of turn number 3. Here comes the leader, Alan Elwood. Same thing on the outside. Huge jump by Alan Elwood. Not waiting, messing around at all. Gets way out in front of the pack there. Sean Verwise is enough there to almost clean shape there and then outside, but Shane drives it pretty hard down on that outside, trying to get a run there, keep Sean Verwise kind of pinned to the bottom to make his run on the outside pretty valid, but they are side by side here for PM2. They're heading down the backstretch into turn number 3. A little bit of single file behind them. It does look like, I think Trevor Hunt there on the outside of Tommy Ryan, but falls in behind him. So yeah, good run up front so far. Everybody's too wide or single file, so looking good right in there.
Yeah, eyes on the battlefield back here, just outside the top 10 right now. 32 of Tyler Barnes and 11th, 01 of Matthew Rodriguez. Really the one I've seen working that top line, regardless if he wants to be out there or not, but a little too high right there. And the 34 into the back of him.
We got an accident on the back stretch.
And that is going to bring out another caution here. Matthew Simmons involved in that one. Bronson Stafford involved as well. It's going to bring up a question that I have here once we take a look at the incident here again. As I said, Bronson Stafford going to tow him back to pit lane, but pause it right here because it did not involve these drivers initially. I know Bronson Stafford got involved in it, but it was, if I can find him now, there we go, the 034. It looks like right here you see the 01 Matthew Rodriguez in the outside wall. 34 into the back of him clips Matthew Simmons. Again, this time it looks like the 55 of Skozen gets on by. Looks like Butler in the 77 just gets on by the 34, but into the back of Simmons, unfortunately. And then right there, the 010 down and into Bronson Stafford. As a few more get involved, but I just got done praising the 01 of Matthew Rodriguez. I guess broadcaster's curse there because he was doing a fantastic job on the outside, making some passes, but just got a little bit too far up there in the marbles. Trying to keep it off the wall, but unfortunately checked them up enough that the 034 of Robert Kenny really nowhere to go. And we'll bring in another caution here as we are getting close to about a third of the way through this race. Alan Elwood still leads the way. Shane Therian, Sean Weiss, Danny Ware, Jack Stone for your top 5. Tommy Ryan, Trevor Hunt, Grady Gherkin, Jeff Ryan, and Chad Coleman for your top 10. Thank everybody out there for tuning in. If you haven't done so yet, hit that like and subscribe. Get you in touch with everything that's here and has to offer. And I will say, Jimmy, in case you didn't notice, we are back over 1,500 once again. Last I checked, we were at 1501. So thank you to everyone out there that is a subscriber of CRM.
People stepping up. Yeah, I mean, so we get some people, or maybe some old CRN fans out there, and maybe their league isn't broadcasting here anymore, so maybe stepping away, or just making their notifications not known. So it's okay, we understand, but we really love our fans out there, and appreciate everybody that shows up each and every week. So if you're out there, shout out to yourself from us in supporting CRN and all the drivers here for tonight's race core. But I'm sure if you're here from one of the other leagues, shout out to your leagues as well. As we make everything here at CRN possible, or even remotely, we're thinking about continuing doing this each and every week to put on the show here. So thank you very much for being here. But the pace car is in now. Alan Elwood is going to get back on the loud pedal here. Start this thing back on. Nice start again. A little slower on the outside this time. It's going to Shane Therian is not going to have to run. It's going to be Chamber Wise pulling in the P92. And then Jack Stoneman with the threat there for Shane Therian, keep him on that outside. So Danny Ware behind him. Trevor Hunt looking to kind of maybe get down that inside as well. He's going to get the position. Well, I know he's in there anyways, and going to fall back just a little bit. There's just a pinch down there, just a little bit too much for Danny Ware, but looking good right now here as we run is the laps.
This is lap 48 here of 175, and I keep clicking on most exciting, and if for some reason I think right there in the back half of that top 10 is where the most excitement is happening right now. As taking a look right now at Brady Gurkin in 10th position, as it seems like everyone for the most part filing out single file, a couple too wide back here with the 51 of Jake Lesh on the inside. 028 there of Joey Cruz on the outside, and now looks like the 78 of JP Phillips. Haven't seen him be a threat at all. Started back there in 19th position. Now finally up 5 spots, trying to get closer to that top 10. But I would not be surprised if he can make it through, that he'll be a threat towards the end of this thing. Right behind him, side by side, Joey Cruz and Tyler Scozen now doing battle. As I thought the sun was going down there for a little bit. Must have just been a little cloud passing by. It's starting to brighten up here a little bit again.
Yeah, it must have been the cloud in the sky. Me up here in the good view blimp, blocking the shade.
Suck it in a little bit, Jimmy. Suck it in a little bit. Just cast shadows.
I'm trying to get some sun before I head out to the parks.
Sideways. And
but everybody gets around.
Great job by all the drivers avoiding Matthew Simmons, and you caught it there live. See him just sliding sideways up into those marbles at the top. The high line is viable, but you got to be careful. That it's so easy to get in the throttle, just goose the throttle just a little bit too much. Looks like that was the case here. See how it looks like, wow, that thing really pushed going into the corner. We got to take a look at that one more time, because that thing, it almost looked like it bottomed out or hit a bump or something like that. Because you see it going into the corner here.
It got in the corner too deep. It didn't turn. And got on the brakes, and then she really turned and gave it some more gas and rotated around, and it just right there, boom.
Yeah, right there, kicking out sideways, and I mean, a great job again by all these drivers. See the 76, the 4, the 34. I mean, just so many cars that could have gotten involved in that wreck. Great job of avoidance there. Last one there was the 45 of Jeremy Gainey, but going to bring us under another caution. Still got plenty of cars that have yet to touch pit road. Got a few more coming in this time. Looks like Joey Cruz, Colin Flickinger, Terry Jansen, Joe Sullivan, Dalton Drummond, just to name a few here. But right now, it looks like it's still the top 14 that have yet to come down into pit road, and that is going to be Alan Elwood, Chandra Weiss, Jack Stoneman, Danny Ware, Trevor Hunt, Shane Tarian, Tommy Ryan, Jeff Ryan, Tyler Barnes, Brady Gurkin for the top 10, and then Chad Coleman, Kelly Pointer, Jake Lesh, and JP Phillips for the ones that have yet to come into the pits. So we'll see how everything shakes out. But so far, biggest movers of the race, you got Josh Van Westen, started back there in 32nd position. And he's now up to 17th, up 15 right now. Got a couple of drivers up 12 spots. Dave Tilford up into 16th, and then Tyler Barnes up into the top 10. He's in 9th place, so good start for those drivers.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about James Malamo, how he was a lap down, and he is now up 10 or 11 spots up in P24, so I believe he is back on the lead lap now, so just double check.
Yes, indeed, yes.
Yep. So, first car, 1 lap down will be Colin, and number 67.
Colin just got his wave around. Colin just got his wave around, so we'll have 30 cars on the lead lap right now, as he is going to rejoin the field. But Alan Elwood going to be back in control here once again. We'll see if he can get it done here as we get it back to green. The pace car going to pull down off the track here one more time. It's in the hands and control here of the 5. Elwood gets another great jump, and we're back to racing here at Bristol.
Colin slowed up, he lost all his momentum, and he's going to fall behind left field here just a little bit, as there's about a half a track ahead of Alan Elwood, but out there solo, so I mean, doesn't really worry about anybody but himself, so maybe
it's not a bad place to be. It's kind of like at the Super Speedway, just kind of falling back to the back, and if something happens, and once a caution comes out, he'll be able to catch back up to the field. But either way,
coming down in the pits.
Yeah, that's. I don't
black
think
flag coming off.
Coming along pit lane. Either way, pretty good start here from the field. just really, I mean, we've seen a couple of times here tonight. It's not really necessarily from hard racing. It's just from a little bit of driving too hard. And the 34.
Oh, down in.
Jeff Ryan is going to bring out another one. And this one, we've seen it live again. We've seen it happen there. Got a little bump from Grady Gherkin entering the corner. And I think it got the tires a little bit too angry going through. You see it right there at the start. Gherkin gets in the back of him, slid sideways through the corner a little bit. Then when he tried to get all the power, exit the corner, tires were just a little bit too angry. And somehow, again, the entire field avoids him. So, got to give it to these drivers on the record wins so far here tonight. But going to put us under another caution here. I know these drivers want to get to it. I know they want to get some green flag running in here. But I mean, you got to be careful coming out of these corners. I mean, certainly a situation like this, I don't think Jeff Ryan was ready for the car to be that angry coming out of it. But all in all, it is what it is. That a lot of cars still out there running, a lot of cars still out there in good shape. Just some single car incidents here and there, but we're getting closer to that halfway point here. Elwood's still leading the way.
Leading the way here as we wind these laps down. Definitely, obviously interesting. I'm sure it's not. It gets frustrating. So now that we've had a few cautions, the drivers are going to start like, come on, or what happened now? As they don't know, and it's just obviously there's some of the drivers out there just having a little bit of troubles being able to modulate that gas pedal coming off them corners, or driving a little bit too hard into the corner, which could lead into problems exiting the corner. So you really got to hit these marks, and really kind of get this track down. It's a love and hate relationship between yourself and the track, and like I said, trusting the car and knowing when and how hard you can push these cars. But right now, obviously, patience is going to start being a big factor here for the drivers to make sure that they take their time and continue to try to hit their marks, and try to keep everything as clean as possible, so we can finish up this race here tonight. But another caution in the books, again going too wide here. Alan Elwood out front with Shumper Wise on row number 1. One of the rule changes and maybe seen it in the past. If anybody is curious why they don't see one driver take the outside lane for the leaders like we've done here in the past. And we have found a flaw, so we have gotten rid of that rule and just keep the leader in the inside now, so we don't have any kind of mix-ups or any kind of circumstances happen that we don't need to deal with. But great start by Elwood on the inside there, and you see Shumper Wise not getting a great start, and that allows Jack Stoneman to pull up alongside and get a nose out in front. But Jack went good. Shumper Wise going to use that high side momentum to get back into P2. Almost hasn't cleared him. Does look like he does clear him, and then Jack Stoneman really drives him in there, really pinching it down. They keep P3. Looks like Shane Theory is going to use that little higher line here right now, as well as he just edges out Bandy Ware. But yeah, it looks like single file all the way back into about P1.
Oh, Grady Gherkin into the wall. Good save there as they went 3 wide with John Crane going through the middle there. But again, just the car stepping out a little bit, coming off the corner. It seems like it's really troublesome, no matter who you are. It seems like a lot of drivers dealing with just a little bit of looseness off the corners, getting on that gas. And let's take a look at the weather here, and see. I mean, the track temperature itself maybe up there a little bit, 103 degrees, Jimmy. It's as soon as it hits those triple digits, it can get a little bit greasy out there.
Yeah, I mean,
we've seen worse. We've seen worse, but
yeah. It's on the cool side compared to your standards when I first started racing here. Holy
surface of the sun.
Tracks, like 2 laps and your tires are pooping. Next thing you know, you got a hard time turning. I used to complain all the time. It was awesome. No, it wasn't. I mean, but yeah, great racing. But great racing right now. Elwood out there, the biggest lead of the night here. Outpoint, almost working on a second with Sean Delars, Jack Stone, Shane Through, Danny Ware, Tommy Ryan, Trevor Hunt, Tyler Barnes, Chad Coleman, and Jake Lesh for your top 10.
Once again, I want to thank everybody for tuning in here tonight.
Looks like Matthew Simmons does a 360, gets that car rolling, single car accident. He was rolling again, so quick and easy, but enough to bring out the caution.
Take a look at this. Was the first one in a little bit now we haven't seen actually live, but I have a feeling exactly that is what the case is here. Just a little bit too much throttle again coming out of the corners. And I don't know, Jimmy. I mean, you know, sometimes we see this happen where, you know, an update happens and the guys are used to the cars handling a certain way, and they're used to it, you know, constantly always being tight or always being, you know, able to be correctable or having a feel for that rear end when it's starting to step out. Maybe it's a case where, you know, the cars are a little bit updated for you know, whatever reason, or, you know, the drivers just are having a different feel out there tonight, because we've seen it now multiple times where, I mean, nobody around here, you can't even blame netcode if we wanted to. It's just drivers losing the rear end here.
Yeah, just obviously pushing the cars, trying to get as much out of them, you know, to you know, come up to speed or whatever. But see a lot of cars starting to, you know, think about, obviously pit here. Obviously, you still got some coming in, whether it's the repair damage or just top off on fuel and on. You know, if you only have a few cars doing it, and then everybody decides to come in at one point, because everybody's going to have to stop. It is at least a one-stop race, regardless of all the cautions or not, unless we were cautioned like the whole time. So they will have to kind of choose when to come down. Obviously, they don't want to give up any of that track position up front right now. Track position is important here, but sooner or later, somebody's going to come in and they're going to take tires, and you're going to see that person just rocket ship through the field. You can't get past on the outside. They'll make it 3 wide and just drive around you anyway. So tires are super important here. It's just a matter of time, how much longer before somebody you know, puts on the new tires and comes back out. We're getting ready to go back to green. They're starting to go double file right now. This time by, everybody catches up to the back of the field. It's going to be at Chandra Wise and Alan Elwood up there in the front row. Shane Tyrion and Jack Stone and number 2, and then Tommy Ryan, Danny Ware, Tyler Barnes, Trevor Hunt, Jake Lesh, and Chad Coleman for your top 10.
Shout out to everyone out there tonight. Obviously, Barry out there as usual, Mike Casey, Jimmy Craigcorn out there. I thought he was in the race, but I guess McIntyre was just out there viewing it here tonight. Guys, we're going to get it back underway here as Alan Elwood gets a restart here, but not as good a one as he's been getting, as the 88 and 25 going to stick with him this time. 9 of Shane Tyrion right there as well. Danny Ware starting to move his way back up. Remember, Ware was the pole sitter here tonight, but he's fallen back to the 5th place position here and just kind of been settling in right there. Back through the pack, Tyler Skosen, one of those cars that did make an earlier pit stop, pit way back on lap number 21. But I mean, I gotta think he's still in line for at least one more pit stop. I think it's a long, long way to go, regardless if this thing cautions out or not. But we're down under 100 laps now, and going to be getting to that halfway point very soon. And I would think if we get another caution right around that halfway point, you may see the rest of this field come in. But right now, top 10 have yet to come in, and then it looks like 12th, actually 13th, Kelly Pointer, and 16th. Are going to get to come in 3 wide off the corner.
No,
looks like they're going to survive it.
2-1.
Still going to survive it here, as Matthew Rodriguez had a close call a couple times now, but we will have another caution.
1, 2, 3, 4.
The last one of the balls looks like Matthew Simmons. Another one. Oh, we got a couple of meatballs. It's like Robert Kenny.
Dave Tilford.
And Dave Tilford, yep, both of the ball. Pull it in here. We'll take a look at what brought this caution out. I'm going to get up here to Matthew Simmons because I know he was involved in it. And again, looks like the same thing for Simmons. And we're winding here a little bit and take a look at it. But it looks like we're just stepping out on him. And you can see it just bobbling a little bit, steps out on him. 34 gets a shot from the 18, the 12 involved, the 11 maybe sneaking by. But again, quite a few involved in this one. And a few of them jumping back to pit lane, Dave Topher being one of them. He's going to be under caution here again. If Topher towed back to pit lane, he's got a meatball rubber. Kenny is getting back to pit lane right now with his meatball. And we should see that pit lane is open. Luis Arduna getting another lap back here. And go back at 28 on the lead lap, as he has now made his way back on the lead lap as he was down a couple laps. And that's one thing that can happen at Bristol. If you have an early issue, whether it be getting caught on pit road or having to tow to pit lane or something and go a few laps down, just stick with it. You never know what's going to happen, what's going to play out here, and how many cars are going to come out. Because I know Arduna was down a couple laps, and now he's back on the lead lap and right back in this thing.
Yeah, I mean, we said it at the beginning. It is a race of survival. Obviously, like I said, right now it's to the point where being, somebody who's been out there and raced a lot of ovals for a while. When I first started, it's just kind of just being persistent and consistent and trying to stay out of trouble, surviving, wreck avoidance is a big part of the racecraft here, and then obviously your pit strategies here with the little longer races. But we're on lap 85, Carl, doubled up here coming down the backstretch, everybody trying to catch up to the field, but it's still Alan Elwood out front with now Shane Terrian, on the outside there, Danny Ware and Tommy Ryan, Tyler Barnes and Chad Coleman, Trevor Hunt, Tyler Scozen, Kelly Pointer and JP Phillips cracking the top 10. So everybody, I think you're going to see a different half here. Hopefully they're a little more heavier racing and they get this thing going. But right now, Alan Elwood out to another great start over Shane Terrian as he pulls in Pinot 2 and Danny Ware in the inside there of Chad Coleman.
Trying to get the inside now of Tommy Ryan as well, battle for third, but Ryan is going to hold on to that spot. If you're looking for a few that were up there towards the front, we had quite a few of the top drivers come in. Chandra Weiss came into the pits under that caution, as did Jack Stoneman. So now they're back outside the top 20 right now, and Jack Stoneman involved in a wreck and getting a little bit more as well, and that's exactly what we talked about, Jimmy. It's scary thinking that you may have to pit under green. It's scarier that you may have to pit and go back in the field. And it looks like our leaders in the pits, not sure if this is going to be an issue here or not, if the yellow flag was out or not when they came in. Be real interesting, but Alan Elwood, Shane Theory, and Danny Ware, Kelly Pointer all in pit lane here. So it's going to be Tommy Ryan shown as the leader at this point. We'll see if this traps any of them one lap down. It'll be very interesting to see, but we'll take a look back here and see what brought out this caution, if STK will find it for me. There we go.
This is one of those ones you gotta be careful when you come in the pits, and so you don't get penalized. And it does look like the drivers that came in, your leaders, were able to execute that correctly underneath the iRacing rules and find themselves in position to come back out here. They're slowing down, allowing drivers to come through. It's kind of a weird exit because it's gotta go outside the entrance of the backstretch pit entry. So, but it's very short and shallow. But it does look like now the question is, these drivers that have come in, the leaders that have come in, Alan Elwood, Chad Coleman, Alan Elwood, and Shane Theory, and Danny Ware, all these drivers at the tail end of the lead lap, they have to be patient. I've obviously they got new tires. We know that they're fast. We know that they can lead. But we need them to kind of be careful because they have to drive through the favorite part of the racetrack. The battlefield.
Of your favorite part, yeah. Certainly not their favorite part. that's for sure. But I think it's...
There's drivers that can stay out there for quite some time. They got people that have come down in the pits. I mean, they're, you know, in the 50s, 70s, we're down there. 61 Jeff Ryan was in on lap 61. You know, so definitely has a lot of life left in a few of them cars up there that can, you know, doesn't have to lay back and does not have to try to fuel save. It's going to be interesting for those leaders that came down.
Well, I think the other interesting thing is we still got 3 cars out there that have yet to come into pit lane, and that being your front row right now, Tommy Ryan, Chad Coleman, and then Trevor Hunt, and that second row right there have yet to touch pit road. Tyler Skosen up there in third. He came in on lap number 21. It's a little bit of a bump up getting on the start here. But Tommy Ryan out there trying to run away for at least a little bit, and we'll see how this thing plays out. But looks like a check up towards the back, and somehow
Elwood in the inside.
It's still bobbling, still close racing. As Elwood and Jack Stillman going to make it through part of the battlefield here, but there's plenty yet to go. And you see still some battling as, how about Jake Lesh through the middle there. And I mean, this is how crazy it can be trying to make your way back up through this field. But right now out front, Tommy Ryan trying to set sail. He's your leader. Tyler Skosen up there in second. Chad Coleman, JP Phillips, Trevor Hunt, your top 5. And you got Jeff Ryan, Matthew Simmons, Joey Cruz, Cody Hemingway, Joe Sullivan for your top 10. Whatever. Some tires. It's just probably this driver driving really hard.
Yeah, I got the bird's eye view. We're doing pretty good right at the moment. Single file for quite a few cars back. Then we got a second little group there as Alan Elwood is working his way to the front of that group. As he goes around, Dalen Jones now sets his eyes on Barnes. So I'm sure he'll make it around Barnes, but having a pretty easy trip to there. But Tommy Ryan out to a nice little lead here as we got a caution that comes out right there, and Alan Elwood involved there. And this one here is John Crane spins out.
Looks like a little bobble there from Elwood off the corner, but I think this might have been John Crane. Yeah, John Crane already loose, and then Elwood in the back of the 32 there of Tyler Barnes. So we'll take a look and see John Crane here and see what brought this one out. You see him already fighting it off the previous corner, and I'm guessing that got those tires nice and pissed off. Let's put it that way. Barnes into him, and then Elwood in the back, and somehow Jake Lesh gets around, and it looks like quite a few cars using the wall to get around here and bouncing off there a little bit, but a few cars certainly involved in this one. And again, some more leaders get put back in there in the battlefield, and they'll have to fight their way back through. We'll take a look here at the front end of the 5. Doesn't look like he got too much damage there, and you see a little bit of wrinkle up there on the outside of the 5, but really not too much damage to speak of, and that's drivable for sure. But you see Tommy Ryan now is behind him. He's made his pit stop here on lap number 98. Looks like Tyler Skosen came in with him, as did Chad Coleman and Trevor Hunt. So now the entire field has made their pit stops, and that puts JP Phillips at the front of this field.
And on lap 62, but we've seen them go all the way up and pit in here, and at lap 89 was that right? Or 98? 98 being the last one here, and not quite sure if they made multiple pit stops. No, you have one pit stop there at lap 98 by Tommy Ryan. So 98 laps. This race is only 170 75 laps. So, I mean, if you made it to 85, if you made it to 90, you can make another 85, especially with all the cautions that are kind of going on here. So, it really depends. Some of these drivers that were in early, they'll probably just continue to stay out and stretch this thing. But some of those people that just pitted are going to be looking for them cautions, or maybe a little green flag run here to get some of those drivers to burn up that fuel that they've been saving here and work their way back. But Tommy Ryan probably on new tires, got a full tank of gas, ready to rip over and tear, make his way up to the field, and right behind Alan Elwood. So we see what happened to Alan getting kind of wrapped up with some of the battlefield pack. But right now, pace cars in. JP Phillips, Jeff Ryan on that front row, and they're going to lead this thing off as JP Phillips takes the lead here. Not a huge jump, but a nice start there in front of Jeff Ryan. Jeff Ryan on the outside, got plenty of room to fall in behind. He's going to do that. Right behind them is going to be Matthew Rodriguez and Joey Cruz battling out for P number 3 at the moment. It looks like they're going to sort things out and hit single file.
And it's pretty crazy. A lot of these cars are now in the top 5, even in the top 10. We're involved in at least one, if not multiple incidents early on in the race. Certainly seen the 010 go through his spin cycle. We've seen the 01 get loose a couple times. So it's great to see them bounce back here. Even the 034 there, up there. Actually, sorry, the 34 there of Jeff Ryan. I know he was in for a little spin as well. But now back up there into second place. But JP Phillips, we talked about it earlier, waiting for him to kind of show his way towards the front, started back there in 19th position now because of the cautions and how the pit cycle has played out. He's up front.
Coming out too.
Not only up front, but ran the fastest lap of the race the previous lap before we went under caution. Looks like this one's going to involve Freddie Gherkin and looks like Robert Kenny getting a black flag here, and this might be the end of the night for Robert Kenny. I believe he had a black flag earlier, but Gherkin, Ben Wesson, a couple of them involved here. We'll take a look at this one more time.
X is starting to stack up a few of the drivers out there as well. I think that's a new thing that you can kind of see. But we'll keep that information to ourselves for right now. And I think we have the drive-through system here with those X's for the overs?
We don't. We used to, but there was it was kind of a broken system as well. So we ended up getting rid of that. But trying to find out where exactly this started here. I can find the right driver. There we go.
What's up, buddy?
Let's try this again here. You see right there, 34 getting loose. And then the 121 getting into him. Starting this one here. As we'll be back under caution here one more time. And I'm sure JP Phillips doesn't really mind this at all. You see the 94 there, James Mullen, I think he's waiting for his wave around to get himself, I believe it should get him back onto the lead lap. I'm sorry, no, that is not the case here. It would get him to 3 laps down if he gets the wave around, but I'm not sure he is going to. We'll see how it plays. It might not be any lucky dog here because Robert Kenny is down there 1 lap. Looks like Van Wesson down a lap as well. So we will get them back up here one more time. We're past the halfway point now as we're down to less than 70 laps to go. Top running platinum driver is the 010 of Cody Hemingway, the one that was in the spin cycle earlier here in the night. Jack Stoneman back there running in 7th, and then you got Danny Ware, Alan Elwood, moved their way back up into the top 10. From our calculations, or at least from my calculations, it looks like everyone in the top 10 and even a few further back should be good to go on fuel. Should be good to go all the way to the end. JP Phillips pitting on lap number 62. Jeff Ryan pitting on 61. Everybody is pit later than that. It looks like Cody Hemingway also on 62, but everybody else is in the 70s, 80s, 90s. And we've seen these drivers go all the way out to 98 before they made a pit stop. So should be good to go all the way to the end. So we'll get it back up to the lead here. JP Phillips. And we're going to go ahead and let these engines roar a little bit for a little love to hear it. Sights and sounds here of the Core Xfinity Series presented by Elwood Designs, and we're under another caution here. You see that there's a single car incident by James Molyneux, but we did see quite a few cars come down pit lane, and we still see some more coming down. As you see Cody Hemingway now down into pit lane, a ton of cars from the front into pit lane. It's going to cycle it back as Lee's going to get another lap back here. Now he is back on the lead lap, as Danny Ware's going to cycle back out to the lead. Alan Elwood in second, Jake Lesh up in third. They're definitely all good to go to the end here, pitting on lap 88 and 99 respectively, putting him away in the pits. So it's going to move up Shane Therian and Matthew Rodriguez into the top 5. Grady Kirkin, Chad Coleman, Joey Cruz, and Colin Flickiger for your new top 10.
Yeah, really kind of surprised we didn't get a few more to stay out that were in the pits later, like in the 60s and 70s. With the amount of people we've seen kind of stretched out like 98 laps, I was really kind of thinking that, you know, some of those people, especially in the late 70s, would have stayed out to make a run at this. But I think at that point, you know, obviously with getting a little bit of run here and there, maybe just having trouble with the car, Carl. I mean, you know, it being loose. You know, one thing that this car, that, you know, we do here at Core is we don't run on a full tank of fuel. So, you know, not running on a full tank of fuel, it does obviously change the way the car handles. I mean, obviously you're starting with a half tank, cold tires, and can really spice things up here. So we'll see how they can handle getting through here. You've seen the incident happen, collecting a few of our drivers coming in. But Danny Ware and Alan Elwood out front, with then Jake Bush and Shane Therian up there, and we're over to Matthew Rodriguez and Grady Gherkin making his way up there in the top, excuse me, on the third row, along with Chad Coleman, Joey Cruz, Colin, and Chris James for your top 10.
Yeah, it's honestly, it's one thing that, of many, that kind of irritates me about iRacing is when it comes to test driving and practicing for the week. You know, these drivers out here with 40% fuel for their max. But the problem is when you go into a test session, you go into practice, you go into to get ready for the week, you can't change the fuel in these NASCARs. Like in your GT cars, you can do it. Like the GT series, they can change their fuel to whatever they want. They can have it, you know, set to a qualifying amount of fuel if they really want to. But here in these NASCARs, in the next gens, in the Xfinity and the Truck Series, and I believe even in the ARCA, you cannot change the fuel, which makes no sense.
I reckon 3 or 4, excuse me.
It makes no sense to me because, I mean, you have leagues that, you know, run less fuel. Not every league, in fact, very few run 100% fuel. So the fact that you can't change the fuel and what you want just doesn't make any sense to me. You can change everything else, and you see it right there. It's like Jeff Ryan getting in the back of Chris James, and maybe even a little neck code involved. But I'm going to bring out another caution here. Under 50 laps to go, though, before the end of this thing.
Yeah, I think there's a way to do it. I'd have to go back to playing around. I thought you could, like, if you go in through the session, like where it's hosted, where you're supposed to set everything, you know, like the test drive, it should like be the same as what's set for the week. But I think if you set up a test session, I don't know if you can go in, because obviously you can tweak your setups, and that's gotta be part of it.
I
can't see it not being.
Last I've seen, it's one thing you can't change in the setups for these NASCARs is that there's no fuel. There's no fuel button to add or remove fuel, which makes no sense to me.
Well, I am not part of the race, so let me go into the garage. I go to my setups.
So while Jimmy's looking at that, you know, we kind of Jimmy mentioned about her earlier. The drivers that were pit on lap, you know, in the 60s and 70s, wondering why they came in the pits to make one more pit stop. And I'm wondering, you know, what the actual fuel mileage is, because we had plenty of cautions in the first half of this race. So, you know, if the fuel mileage was, say, only 80 laps, and I know some of these drivers made it to lap 98, but there's so many laps under caution that you're not running hard. You know, you don't have the pedal all the way down to the floor using all the fuel, so you can save a ton of fuel under these caution laps. So maybe they flat up were going to be short and they had to come into the pits. Jimmy, find anything out on your end?
No, it doesn't look like they're in here at all.
Yeah.
That's kind of amazing here.
It's dumb. It makes no
like,
sense.
Yeah, I don't even think when you run an official sprint series, I don't think they start fuel. I don't think so.
Yeah,
it's been a long time since I ran official ovals, that's for sure, and really kind of paid attention.
Yeah, I lean towards them. Not, I'm almost positive that they don't, but yeah, it's one of those things where if you can change it, you should be able to. If it's something where you can adjust it, you know, for each session, like setup, you know, you can have a maximum amount of this fuel. You should be able to test it like that. I mean, granted, I understand you could run a car for 60% of the fuel run, come in and change your tires, and okay, now you got 40% of the fuel in, but some drivers don't have that time.
You don't need to pay for a session and set it up the way you want.
Right, yeah, exactly.
And then go in,
Well, gonna get back to green here. Danny Ware on the front row now, gonna lead him back to the green. Good restart by him, but also a good restart by the 5 of Alan Elwood's gonna battle him on the outside. Ware's not gonna be able to clear him. Yes, he is, just barely. He's gonna slightly move up, but Alan Elwood gonna fight back here on the outside now, looking to try and go back to the lead. Shane Terrian right behind him as well. Give that lap lead to Danny Ware, but how long can he fight off the 5 of Alan Elwood? Big bobble there by Elwood, but he's gonna fight back again here into 3 and 4. Give the lead to Danny Ware, but for how long?
Alan looking for a bounce back here at Bristol and try to get himself another great finish here on the season. But Danny Ware leading the way at the moment, following closely by Alan Elwood and Shane Terrian back there. And then Jake Lesh, Matthew Rodriguez, Joey Cruz up in the top 10. Chandler Wise, Grady Gurkin, Chad Coleman, and JP Phillips works up the people now.
Some pretty good battling back here in the back half of the top 10.
Oh, Tommy, hearted.
66 and Ryan getting it spun back around. Didn't look like too much damage to him. Take a look back. It looks like Kelly Pointer involved in this one. Maybe Louise Verduna. As we take a look at this one here one more time. And you see already Kelly Pointer sideways and into the wall, and no time, nowhere to go for the 66 or really the 73 of Orduna getting involved in that one as well. Take a look back here again and see what happened to Pointer as he went to the high side. It looks like Cody Hemingway really trying to make a move there under Trevor Hunt and makes it work, but that's not what brought out the caution here. It is Kelly Pointer. Did he get any help here from the 11? Possibly a little bit of a bump. I mean, it was a lot heavier of a shove than what actually happened there from John Crane, but it sends Kelly Pointer around. Brings us under another caution here at Bristol, and back live here. To get this thing back underway, we're going to be under 30 laps to go, so I know it's been quite a few cautions here tonight, as Bristol can be from time to time, but we are getting close to the end here, getting close to the last 30, 25 laps to go. By the time this thing is over, it's certainly going to be a well-deserved victory for whoever that may be.
Yeah, it takes a lot, you know, and you talked a little bit earlier how the drivers are probably getting frustrated. This is settling in, obviously, and I don't have the driver chat on, and it's probably a good thing for me tonight to keep that blood pressure down. But you know, the drivers are out there. They got to keep cool. They got to keep calm. They have to keep hitting their laps. And yes, it gets frustrating or minor incidents out there. You got to think, obviously, all the things that can go wrong. And everybody's on different, as much as these are stock cars, everybody's on different equipment, different computers, different internet connections, different setups. So there's a lot of differences other than the same sim, the same car, same setup. A lot of different ways that these drivers are running out. You know, people from running on a controller, so you know, single monitor, ultra wide or triples or even VR. before. So lots of differences between the drivers and how they partake in this hobby here known as sim racing using the iRacing service. And obviously a shout out to them for providing that for us so we can use it here to have great races. But challenging one here tonight, lots of patience, too wide, pace car is in, Danny Ware looking to lead this pack down again, gets on a loud pedal, away we go down the turn number one, has about a 3/4 of a car lead over Alan Elwood. Now a full car coming off of turn number two. He was able to slide up in front of Alan, slow that momentum that he has. Alan's going to try to use a little bit higher line and use that momentum to try to maybe make a move on Danny, but plenty of racing still remains. But we're going to go sideways going down to turn one, and then see 1, 2, 3 cars involved.
Quite a few cars back here.
Crane, somebody else.
Tim Glass would have been involved in that one a little bit here as well. And trying to get to it here in SDK and show you what happened. That looks like the 76 right there gets into the 67. Start this little melee here, the 59 into the back at the 11, and this ends up getting quite a few involved. Doesn't look like too many with heavy damage there, as Tommy Ryan unfortunately not getting the help here in the back half of this race for sure, but quite a few cars involved in this one. What I was going to mention before we went under caution here, though, is keep an eye on that 88 of Sean Weiss. He pit on lap number 129. He's got freshies on as well. So that 88 looked like it was hooked up very well. If you can get enough green flag laps, there's a chance that 88 may be a threat here for the win.
Yeah, speaking of all the incidents and cautions we have, we've had a few drivers out there with some pretty big numbers as far as incident goes. But we actually have, I don't want to say their names, but we actually have a few that have a 0x.
Oh man, I mean, it's to survive here at Bristol. I mean, it's, to get under 10x and on one of these type of races here that we're having here tonight, it would feel like a clean race here tonight. But yeah, that you want to talk about some much gained bonus points on the field if you can finish this thing off with 0x or even just a couple X would be a fantastic feat, and certainly some bonus points that you'll get that not very many others will. But we'll see how this thing plays out. We still got quick math here. We got less than 25 laps to go here. It's going to be close to 20 laps to go when we get this thing back under green. Danny Ware, Alan Elwood, Shane Therian, Sean Weiss, Matthew Rodriguez for your top 5. Joey Cruz, JP Phillips, Grady Gherkin, Chad Coleman, and Jeff Ryan for your top 10. Man, I mean, I have no idea. I know I typically put up the poll later in the race. We got. I still don't know who the other 4 drivers I can put up there are. I mean, certainly the top 4 in the race right now are not a bad choice. Certainly Danny Ware, Alan, I would have been fast all race. Shane Tarian could certainly play into the mix here as well. He's had a great season so far. But again, I'm keeping my eyes on that 88 right there. The only Ford up there at the front. And looking like that Mustang has got eyes for the lead. We'll see how this thing plays out. But base car lights are out. It's going to be in here off of turn number 4. Back in control here by Danny Ware as we get this thing back underway. One more time here at Bristol. Back on the loud pedal as we've got 26 laps to go. Sorry, 20
laps.
22. That sounds better.
22 laps to go here at Bristol, and they can go by fast here if they can keep it under green. We're going to have a slide coming out of 4. They go 4 wide temporarily and continues to bobble down the front stretch, and it crashes down there in turn 1. And does look like Jeff Ryan being involved there, and I believe with Joey Cruz.
Time you see right there, Joey Cruz gets maybe a tap from JP Phillips, and then 4 wide, and then yeah, right there, Cruz and Jeff Ryan get together on this one. Jeff Ryan points the wrong way. It's going to get us under 20 laps to go now. So as much as we see some of these drivers, different strategies here, and some better tires than others. You need some green flags to get that strategy to work out for you. And right now we're not seeing it, unfortunately. So one more time, we'll take a look at your top 10 here, and it is going to be Danny Ware, Alan Elwood, Sean Verweiss, Shane Therian, Matthew Rodriguez. It's a habit. It's an ingrained habit at this point.
It's been a long time. It is not easy when you call somebody something for so long. So that's why Carl makes fun of me, because a lot of times I just gotta keep repeating it, and then I'll forget, and then I'll mess it back up again, because I just struggle with saying people's names for some unknown reason. I don't know, but either way, everybody gets a chuckle, and I'm fine with it. So, but yeah, right now Carl's having a little bit of Jimmyism. What it's like to just struggle with somebody's name after saying it a certain way for such a long time. So, yeah, Shane Therian is definitely a different change for us here tonight, but doing a great job up there again, up in P4 currently, and was up as far. Did he get the lead? Did he lead it all here tonight? I wish SDK would say that.
Yeah, it's one thing I've said before. I wish we could see like lead changes or lap slip, things like that. Just little things like that are being tracked already in the background. I just wish there was a way to tap into it to see.
We can add. It's something with the right and the overlay, like a
possibly
get the right to coding or something. Maybe I should talk to some of my program buddies and see if they can get them interested in watching and see if they can write me a script that'll straighten this thing up. And I got a few, see if I can convince them to kind of check it out.
Well, we're going to get this thing back underway one way or another, and it's now going to be 16 laps to go. And we start to maybe get a little better with the math in here as we get down towards the end. 16 laps to go here. So not too many more times will we have a restart, and this time the 5 of Alan Elwood gets a great restart. Going to be side by side with Danny Ware off the corner with a slight edge to the 5, and same thing, give the slight edge to Sean Verweiss in 3rd place right here. We'd love to see that 35 get a move on, because right now he is boxed in, trying to find a way around, tries to get up there a little bit to push the 9 up there, but he's now stuck, and Therian gonna kind of play blocker right now to keep that 88 behind. 3-car battle, almost a caution between the 35 and the 9 right there, and still a battle for the lead. Elwood gets a little bobble, but he's gonna keep it running straight. The laps are starting to really tick down now. As to the stripe right now, it is gonna be 13 laps to go. I guess the math ain't math for me. But you see, it's a lockdown right now for the top 3 spots. I see some smoke right there. I don't see a caution though. That might be a car going down to the pits.
Tommy Ryan on the battle of JP Phillips. The 7th and 8th is now they're 2x2x2. Really kind of got things locked down there up front. It's not a track that likes 3 wide. So what can these drivers do as this thing kind of is ticking down? We're down to be 9 laps to go here in this time.
Alan Elwood on the outside. Shane Therian right behind him. On the inside, it's Danny Ware, Sean Verweiss, but now you see Jack Stoneman coming up here in the mix. He's got some newer tires as well. Would love to get up here and battle with these guys. You see Joey Cruz down there on the bottom. He's going to stay off the track and out of the way. Danny Ware getting a little bit of a run here, and at the line, give it a slight edge, I believe, to Alan Elwood on the outside. But at what point will Verweiss go to the inside? There it is, looking 3 wide, but he's going to have to back out as he's trying to find a way around. And big bobble there from Danny Ware, and now you see right there Jack Stoneman and Sean Verweiss side by side. Stoneman to the outside, almost 3 wide again as Ware slams the door shut. But it's going to give an option to the 25 of Jack Stoneman to move himself into third as we've got 7 laps to go. Good little green flag run here. Hopefully it stays green all the way to the end because this is a great battle. Now Tyrion to the inside for the lead on Elwood. Not going to get the run that time by. Stoneman going to close in here. Top 3 battle. I can't even look away to put a poll up there. You just tell me in the chat who you got because this is a great battle here to the end. The 5 on the outside, the 9 on the inside, almost contact. And here comes a 25 of Stoneman up here in the mix. And oh, by the way, Tommy Ryan now right there in the mix for the win. He's up into 4th, getting around Danny Ware as we're under 5 to go at the line. It's going to be down to 4.
Yeah, Tommy Ryan has been through the battlefield and then some. Slow car. Gonna choke up that inside line there. It's gonna really mess things up there. Really group them all back up, but they're able to get around that lap car as they head down into turn 3. They're coming out of 4 down the front stretch. And this Stoneman with the lead.
Stoneman got the newer tires. He's going to drive around the 5 of Alan Elwood. Move Tommy Ryan up into 3rd as well. Wreck. And we're going to have a caution here. We're going to have a green-white checkered. I mean, why not? We pretty much, you know, it seemed like it was just trending that way regardless. As we're going to have to check up here for the pace car. That's why you see that the car's really checking up here. We'll take a look at what brought out the caution, but man, this was getting really good here at the end. Excuse me, it looks like
probably the best run of the night. There was some crazy battling for the front positions.
JP Phillips out into the wall and hit the fast forward instead of the slow down. But either way, you've seen what happened right there, and unfortunately, and not a good end there for the 78. This is going to put him back there in 21st position. But how about the new tires paying off late? Jack Stoneman now in the lead. Tommy Ryan's going to restart there in 3rd place. Not sure when he got tires. He was in on lap number 144, but he didn't take tires at that point. It was just a gas and go. So not sure when he got those
98.
tires.
98.
So
98.
He's got 10 lap newer tires than Alan Elwood. Shane Tyrion up there as well in the top 4. Chandra Weiss has gotten around at Danny Ware, but they're going to start side by side now. As you see them battling immensely. I mean, this thing is green-white checkered, but it's kind of far from over. Hopefully, it does finish under checkered flag and not under caution because these drivers deserve everyone to the end.
Yeah, it's definitely, you know, this is a challenging point in time. You know, it's obviously everybody going to try to get what they can and push their car as hard as they think they can. And I wouldn't be surprised to see a caution come out as trivial some of the racing has been here tonight with you know, being able to make those judgment calls on how hard they can push these cars. So, you know, we've seen, you know, everybody get into incidents. We've seen Alan Elwood getting into it. We've seen Tommy get into it. We've seen JP just now, JP Phillips getting into it. So plenty of your top drivers having issues here tonight, along with the other drivers throughout the field. So nobody is subject to have a super clean race, and there is only a few drivers left still on this list. I'm not saying the names because there's only 2 of them, and they're doing a great job out there as of right now. So looking for, and I'll announce those clean drivers at the end when we hit that checkered flag, because it's just as big as surviving tonight. But we're back 2 wide. Pace car is bringing them down through turns 3 and 4. It's going to be Jack Stoneman to start this thing off with Alan Elwood on the outside, Tommy Ryan on the inside, Shane Tyrion on the outside, and then Chandra Wise, Danny Ware, Chad Coleman, and Kelly Pointer. Jake Leslie, Grady Gherkin, and on the loud pedal. A great start by Alan Elwood on the outside. Maybe a ploy from Jack Stoneman to kind of keep that 66 kind of pinned back there along with the 88. But he's going to need to drive a little bit harder to get that 25 to the lead.
White flag is out. The next flag will end it as Tommy Ryan clears the 5. Can he get to the back bumper of the 25? With Stoneman to send to the outside here. Just not going to be enough. That's 88 over Weiss into the side of the 5. Give the win to Jack Stoneman. Tommy Ryan in 2nd. Sean Verweiss going to come home in third. Alan Elwood, Danny Ware for your top 5. Shane Therian, Kelly Pointer, Chad Coleman, Jake Lesh, and Grady Gerken for your top 10. But it was pit strategy and tires at the right time for Jack Stolman.
Yeah, it's a good run there for Jack. Great call when they do the actual the pit strategy and take them tires. So good, congratulations there to Jack. Great run there by Tommy coming back, and Verweiss just squeaking out over Alan Elwood coming out of turn number 4 to grab that third place finish here. And then it's going to be Alan Elwood, Danny Ware, Shane Therian, Kelly Pointer, Chad Coleman, Jake Lush, Grady Gerken for your top 10 tonight.
Look at our top 3 here into the booth in a bit. But I mean, what a finish. I know we had plenty of yellows to get through and talk through and everything like that, but at the end of it, it was one heck of a finish, Jimmy. I mean, this is exactly what you want to see at the end of Bristol.
Yeah, and looking at the entry list here with who has all the X's and cleanest drivers of the race go to Jake Lesh with a 0X, and thought I had one more. Unless they got one at the end when they were. Because yeah. But at least Jake Lesh being the only driver currently that I know, unless somebody got one after. I know when they celebrate, they tend to, spin or hit the wall or something like that.
And,
but
yeah, kind of gives them phantom ones at the end.
With a 0X.
Well, before we get to our interviews, want to send a shout out and thanks to our series sponsor, Elwood Designs, as they've been making custom liveries for the iRacing community since 2012. Specializing in the NASCAR class of vehicles, they can offer designs on various other options within the service. If you're looking to make your own livery but don't have the time to make your own base design, you can purchase Elwood Design bases at simratmarket.com. You can also find Elwood Designs online on Facebook or on X. As we'll get this thing underway here, and I mean, it's just fantastic finish here, as it is Jack Stolman getting it done here tonight. And we'll see if we can get our 3 in here. Yeah, we're going to start with our third place. Jimmy, why don't you go ahead and take our third place finisher tonight, Sean Verweiss.
Hey, Sean, Jimmy, and Carl up in the booth. You copy?
Copy.
Hey, definitely an interesting race here tonight. Obviously, the trials and tribulation and the having to keep the patience of all the extra cautions here tonight. So, kind of give us a rundown of what your strategy was once you've seen that. Obviously, people were having a bit of a challenge here tonight, and how you got into that position there for that P3 here for a finish.
Yeah, I had a pretty poor qualifying, so I had to race my way through the field, and I've always been pretty good with short track races, especially high bank tracks like this. So I really wanted to do the 2-stop strategy, at least get a late set of tires in this race, and especially when I saw Allen and the 35 go for the 1-stop in the middle of the race, it made me really feel confident in the way I was able to move around the track and kind of avoid the wrecks that I needed to, and able to just continue and keep going my way forward. So hopefully I can keep this being a streak, this being the second week of me being in the booth. But I'm pretty happy with third place finish. Sadly, kind of got stuck on the bottom in that one restart that I felt like I could have got maybe a little bit further forward and maybe extended a lead. But here we are, P3. I can't complain.
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing to, get a good finish, but to kind of get the consistency rolling here. And like you said, kind of getting up in the booth here multiple weeks. So we want to say congratulations. And obviously, we know being out there with not a super difficult track, but obviously challenging when people are still learning and trying to get that throttle input down for a lot of these corners. So we want to say congratulations on the great finish here and finishing in P number 3, and give you some time for any shouts you might have in that car here tonight.
Yeah, just got some great advice from Carson Quapple this week after his P4 finish at Bristol in real life, and he gave me a little bit of pointers, and it ended up third. Here we are.
Really worked out here tonight. Appreciate them shouts. I'm sure he does too. So again, congratulations, and we'll let you go celebrate with your friends and family.
All right, thank you.
And as your third place finisher here tonight, as he almost made me move the room channel as he hopped out of here so quickly, it's going to be the 88 of Sean Verweiss. Second place here tonight, and he made it work with the tires at the right time, just like the top three here all did. But Tommy, right tires, right time, maybe just a smidge too late, maybe a smidge more time, and you would have had a chance of this win.
Yeah, it wasn't by choice. I was back there and I was junk, and then I got destroyed and had to go in and get the fast repair, and I thought I was doomed. But couple cautions, couple laps, I was right there in the middle of it. I was like, man, I got a shot at this if I can get going. Kind of did, but I need at least another corner or another lap to get Jack. But still, incredible rebound. I was not expecting that. So good run, but unfortunately, this place is tough. It brings out a lot of yellows, and guys are real pissed off at one another. But it's Bristol. I'm not a fan of racing here. It's you end up riding under yellow more than you do get the race, but it is what it is.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's what a lot of short tracks end up being. But I mean, it ended up treating us to a great finish for sure. And it was kind of funny watching in the middle of the race. Almost reminded me of my kids and other kids. You take them to the playground and you tell them, okay, 5 more minutes, you got to come in. We got to go. We got to leave. And that's what it seemed like for you guys out there, not wanting to come into the pits, not wanting to make that basically one mandatory pit stop that you needed to make out there, because it was what are you more afraid of? Is it pitting under green if you end up going that far and going several laps down, or putting yourself back in that battlefield? And I think you were one of the ones that stayed out there until lap number 98 before you finally made your first pit stop.
Yeah, I was. You just keep your track position. It's a whole lot easier racing the 5 guys in front of you than 30 in front of you, and they're all just scrapping. So yeah, I mean, eventually you've got to bite the bullet and go back there and get in the soup, is what I call it.
Yes.
And then you just pray that you can survive it until something else cycles. And then, yeah, but it is what it is. I mean, I'll be glad to get the hell out of here.
Well, you get out of here with a podium. So, I mean, I guess it could have been a hell of a lot worse. You did get involved in one incident, but you get up here on the podium. You get to come in here, have a little interview, and finish as a top gold driver here as well. So congrats on the finish here tonight. Before we let you go, who do you give a shout out to or thanks to?
Yeah, thanks to Northern Tool and Equipment and Jameson's Custom Corvette. And thanks for Carl for dealing with the playground. So he's got a lot to deal with. So appreciate it.
Absolutely, buddy. Well, congrats. Take some time, and maybe we'll see you next week for the All-Star race.
Okay, man. See ya.
Second place finisher here tonight, the 66 of Tommy Ryan. Top spot here tonight, though, is going to go to the 25 of Jack Stoneman.
Jack, Jimmy and Carl, boot the copy.
Of course I copy.
Hey, well, congratulations, and what a heck of a race, man. Right time, right spot, right time, perfect timing for a pit stop, getting them newer tires to put yourself in the position and the ability to kind of get that car out in the lead here tonight. Give us a little rundown on how it was out there for you. We've seen it on the screen, and we know things was kind of a battlefield. But what did you do that made it so much different that allowed that 25 to be the winner here tonight?
Well, first of all, I want to apologize if this is not the best interview ever. I am still shaking right now. I'm still trying to process what even happened. But before the race even started, and you guys obviously know, every single time I say I'm never going to do good, I always do good for some reason. I texted my teammate, Tyler, after qualifying. I told him, I said, I got a bad feeling about this race. This ain't going to go well. Had decent pace in practice, decent pace in qualifying. My whole plan, honestly, was not even to finish well. I was just looking to just survive. So that whole race, I was basically just saving my tires and doing what I possibly could. I didn't think I would have a chance with, people like Alan, Shane, Sean, Tommy up front. Those guys are, absolute sweats when it comes to the simulator. But I think this race overall was an interesting one, mainly because of just all the cautions and all the wrecks. And like you said, Jimmy, it really was a battlefield out there. I felt like every time I tried to do an early pit stop and I'd get sent to the back, get clobbered in the rear or in the front, in the side, every single spot possible, getting hit all around with all these back markers and whatnot. So it was definitely difficult to race this. And I think the main key of this race was patience, is just settling down, not pushing too hard, and just seeing what was going to happen. But overall, I'm going to be biased here because obviously I did just win this race, but overall I'm very happy with how my pit strategy went, with my patience actually being the highest it's ever been this whole season. And just finally happy to get an actual good result for once. This season has not been going well for me. I think the standings said I only had like 2 or 3 top 10s. I didn't even have a top 5. So being able to just finally get a win and break that winless streak since season 4, I'm extremely happy.
Yeah, I mean, they finally crack a win here tonight. I mean, it's a difficult group of drivers out here tonight. Obviously, looking at stats, 65 different drivers have paid to race, and obviously only 35 showing up here tonight. Hence why occasionally there can be that second split. But yeah, it's definitely a challenge out there, but you got some high competition. You did what you need to do. You talked about getting punted around, but you stayed away from them X's. I only see a 4X on that machine here tonight. So another clean run here. So another good net bonus there. Maybe an extra point for being in a clean car and just taking your time with that patience. So, for me and Carl, I obviously watched you get around here and finally get up here for a win. We want to say congratulations, man. And two, we want to give you some time for any shout outs before we let you get out of here.
Thanks, guys. Obviously, first of all, everyone that works with Core Racing, Carl, Jimmy, all the admins here, making this all possible, making the broadcasts enjoyable to watch, everyone running this series, making sure that everyone's following the rules and making sure everything is as fair as possible. I got to give one of the biggest shouts I got to give to is my Team Watson Racing. This race is probably the most amount of practice I've ever put in one single race. And thanks to a lot of telemetry data and a lot of replays that Team Watson provided for the Xfinity cars at Bristol, it was really easy to be able to study the information and figure out what's the best way to save tires, what's the fastest line to go around. So I got to give a huge shout out to them. Also, big shout out to my friends and family that are watching the stream right now and cheering me on. I think all those boys and girls, all my friends and family, they are my biggest supporters. A lot of my friends just came back to college this weekend, and they were finally all here to watch a race of mine. So they're always, by my side on my highs, my lows, whether I'm, all giggly, throwing jokes or having a mental breakdown. They are the best friends I could possibly ask for, and I'm just so grateful for them.
Again, we want to say congratulations. Appreciate the shout outs, and I'm sure they do too. You deserve it. And take this time now, and you can kind of let the nerves calm and go celebrate with their friends and family, man.
Thanks, guys.
Yes, sir.
That is your winner tonight here, the 25. Certainly a happy, a giggly, and a giddy number 25 there of Jack Stoneman, and certainly going to relish this win for quite some time. It's no easy feat to win here. Yeah, exactly. In really 2 weeks, because next week just a little fun run with the All-Star race, and we'll see how that all plays out there at Homestead. But this was an interesting one, as it typically is here. The Coliseum was certainly the Gladiators were out here, but I gotta say, I feel like a lot of the incidents here tonight attributed to the right rear tire, just not wanting to have any kind of grip coming off these corners. A lot of cars losing it by themselves, and I'm sure that'll get hashed out in the reviews here by the admins and everything like that. But all in all, treated us to a fun ending to this race for sure. I want to thank everybody out there for tuning in. If you haven't done so yet, hit that like and subscribe. Get you in touch with everything that Siren has to offer. But myself and Jimmy here in the Siren booth at the Bristol Motor Speedway. We'll see you at the track.
Peace.